Today on the news and why it matters, Time Magazine has named their person of the year, and you are about to roll your eyes right on out of your head when you find out who it is. Also, the Judiciary Committee hearings on the IG report. What CNN probably is not going to show you, we will. We've got a lot coming up, and it starts right now. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sarah Gonzalez, today joined by Sundberg here. We've got Luke Macias, political consultant Luke Macias. Thank you for being back in the house.
Absolutely.
And then we have Jeff Fisher.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here. Appreciate it. Good to see you.
I am also
good to see you.
glad for you to be here. It's going to be a fun show. But first, we want to thank our sponsor, Genesis 950. So if you are maybe thinking about replacing your carpets, maybe you've got a lot of pets, maybe you've just got kids who sometimes do more damage than pets, I feel.
Just think about how much sauce Jeffy has spilled on the carpets
Already.
over the years.
Oh,
I mean,
That's a great point.
It's an incredible amount.
If you have a Jeff.
Yes.
Yeah,
if you have
so
a Jeffy.
you might have pets, you might have kids, you might have a Jeffy. Who knows? But if you are looking to replace your carpets, you've got the stains, you've got the odors, whatever the case may be, don't do that yet. Try Genesis 950. Pat here at the studio, Pat used Genesis 950. He had professional cleaners come in and clean his carpets. They did not remove the stains, but Genesis 950 did. It's that good, and it's way less expensive than replacing your carpets. It is also green, so it's safe for your family, for your pets, for your Jeffies even. It's safe for all of the above. And so 1 gallon of the Genesis 950, it comes in a concentrate. So you get 1 gallon, and it makes like 7 gallons of cleaner. So it lasts a really long time. You can buy it on Amazon. But if you'd like to give us credit for it, which we appreciate, you can go to genesis950.com. Use promo code BLAZE. You'll get a free spray bottle and a discount. If you go to genesis950.com, use promo code BLAZE. Get your house all ready for people to come in and stomp all around your carpet during the holidays. Genesis950.com. Time Magazine has named 2019 Person of the Year Greta Thunberg.
No.
Greta Thunberg is Time Magazine's 2019 Person of the Year. They said she is the youngest individual to be recognized. Wow, what an achievement. And she gained international attention for excoriating world leaders for their inaction in the climate crisis in a viral speech she made at the UN Climate Action Summit in September. And she criticized world leaders again at the COP25 conference last week. I had no idea all you had to do to be the person of the year is criticize a bunch of adults.
Yeah.
That's literally what they named. They said she criticized a bunch of people, and then she criticized a bunch of people again. Go, Greta, go.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing. I mean, she hasn't accomplished anything, right? Like, I mean, even if she had solved global warming, we could all come together and say, well, at least she solved global warming, but she's only yelled about solving global warming, which is not a thing.
Well, she has brought, climate change to the forefront.
What does that mean? I love these things that we say now, especially in the social media area. It's like, well, they created that hashtag, and that was pretty impressive. What did that do? Did it do anything? Was there anything beyond the hashtag, anything beyond the yelling at adults part of her speech that actually led to an accomplishment? The answer to that, of course, at this point is no. She will do more damage to the environment with the issues printed of Time that she's on the cover of than anything she's actually accomplished. And they're only going to sell like 9 copies of this thing. So it's really not that big of a carbon footprint. What's really interesting about her, I think, too, is if you look back at that speech, everyone kind of looks at it and says, it's an insane moment where this 16-year-old is just screaming at a bunch of adults and accusing them basically of genocide. And everyone's like, oh, hey! Everyone in the crowd is clapping. It's like, she's saying it about you idiots.
Like, she's saying about you.
Everyone else,
She's saying
not
about
me.
the leaders, like the whole speech is about the leaders. But when you really read the speech, if you actually care about the policies and these things, what she is saying is completely insane. So she is talking about.
I love you for reading.
I can't believe you just said. Why would you insult a kid like that?
Well, I said her policy is insane. I didn't say she was insane. She's talking about a 50% reduction in carbon emissions in 10 years. Now, when she's talking about that, that's when she's saying, "How dare you? That's not enough." So 50% in 10 years, and she's screaming at them like they're not doing anything. Right. Okay. Then, on top of that, she admits something that environmentalists hate to admit. What are we sold when we talk about environmentalism, we talk about green policies. We are sold this thing that you can do. It's easy. You take a couple of steps. You help the environment. The economy can grow. We'll create lots of new jobs, building solar panels and all these things, right? This vision that Barack Obama would bring to you, or AOC, or any of them would bring to you.
Yeah.
Her line in there, when she's talking about how dare you, because everyone just laughs at how dare you, and it is funny, I will admit. But the thing that she's talking about when she's talking about how dare you is she is, number one, saying 50% in 10 years is not even close to enough. And she goes into all sorts of sort of crazy depth on where she wants these policies to kind of end up. And they're pretty freaking scary. I mean, she doesn't have the normal limits of a politician. And at one point she admits, she goes, you come in here and you've ruined my life, you've ruined my childhood. She says all those things.
Stolen my childhood.
Stolen my childhood. And
how dare you?
And told us, right, and this is where I go with it every time. But however, she also, after that says,
Greta Thunberg, how dare you?
There you go. But she says, you've stolen my childhood, you've done all these terrible things, and you've done it with lies of eternal economic growth. And it's such a key phrase because what she's saying here is we can all act as if economic growth comes out of this, but it's not true. If you want to do the things that she's saying, you're talking about destroying the economy and bringing us back 100 years to a point where no one was emitting anything. And you're just talking about people who are hungry, who no longer eat.
With going back 100 years.
Yeah. I mean,
you're probably going back farther.
She is not AOC. She's way beyond AOC.
And that's saying something.
And time is embracing this.
But Stu, also, she's 16.
Yes.
So, I mean, sometimes I feel like when you're talking about this 16-year-old girl, in a sense, you're acting as if this is a legitimate person who has legitimate
Yes,
ideas.
I agree.
And to me, the biggest blame falls at the feet of the adults in the room that selected her as Person of the Year. Sarah and I have talked about the transgendering of our kids that's going on in this society. And like my problem with that is that you have a doctor, a psychologist, parents who conspire against a child. And, you know, on the issue of abortion, you have doctors and parents conspiring against unborn children. And in the same time, you've got adults in the room sitting together saying, who's the Person of the Year that we're going to select? Greta, the 16-year-old Swedish activist. So to me, that the blame falls. We've got a real problem with the adults in the room that are making decisions on where they even want to go, on who they want to praise. And she's a victim, even more so, to these people that are propping her up in that way.
And I think that's totally true and totally fair. It's tough, though, to deal with it because, the reason why she's selected is because she can't be criticized.
Yes.
Right? It's why David Hogg is selected. It's why, you have these younger people who are coming out with these causes so that these policies that they're promoting that are real policies. I mean, she knows a lot about the climate. She knows more than 90% of the people on MSNBC about the climate. And in some ways, she's saying what's actually true. From their perspective, where she's saying, like, if these things that we keep saying we want to do are going to destroy the economy. And she's not afraid to admit it, politicians are. However, did she get a pass from no criticism? And I don't mean again, I'm criticizing her ideas, not her. I mean, she does not seem like
child hater.
She doesn't seem like a very happy kid. I'm going to be honest about it.
No.
She seems pretty miserable.
But would you be a happy kid if you were being fed all of these, oh my gosh, we're all going to die. We're going to die if we don't do something.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to live to become an adult because these people are killing you. I mean, I would probably be pretty paranoid too if it were me.
I mean, she's basically Jamie Lee Curtis living in Haddonfield, Illinois, which is where Michael Myers came to try to kill her every time. And the entire time, Michael Myers is going to come back and try to kill you. How do you feel about your life? It's terrible. You're in constant state of fear. She has had implemented and thrust upon her this vision of the world of this terrible, horrible, impossible to move out of the way of meteor coming at the planet. And we're all going to die and there's nothing we can do and all these evil people are targeting us. That's a terrible life. It's not us ruining her childhood. Her parents and her surroundings have ruined her childhood, and that part of it is really unfortunate.
I can't believe you equated her with a serial killer, but that's...
No, I said she was the person surviving the serial...
Have you seen, there's a clip of her at a UN summit where she doesn't have a script, and she's off script, and this guy asks her a question, and she's like, does anyone else want to answer the questions? Like she has no idea how to answer it because she doesn't have her talking points.
And look, she's 16 years old, right? She's thrust into a situation that she doesn't really understand, and this is go, you're the star. And if she doesn't have her talking points, then she's lost. It's tough to make fun of her. It's easy to make fun of her, but it's tough to make fun of her at the same time.
She's the byproduct of what happens when these children actually begin believing the lies that all the adults in the room are telling them.
I think, you know what? I think it's fair game to criticize her when they have put her on a world stage and said she is the expert that you need to be listening to, right? Like, I mean, they're not, if they were saying, okay, well, she's a kid, so give her some, don't listen to what she has to say. She's 16, don't worry about it. But they're not saying that. So I think, you know what, it's fair game.
And she's essentially, if activist Twitter became a person, right? Like, that's who she is. And that's unfortunate. I do think that, though, there can't be this immunity.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, either we can, I don't want to criticize her as a person. I know nothing about her as a person, but I am going to criticize her ideas. And what the left likes to do is take your criticism of their ideas and turn it into your criticism of a person. And that's unfair. It's a way of like shielding the arguments. They do the same thing with David Hogg. Every time you say David Hogg's ideas are nuts, they'd say, how can you make fun? He's a child.
Yeah, but you know what? I will criticize her as a person a little bit for being disrespectful to adults. Because if my child ever spoke to adults the way that she stood up there and spoke to adults, I can't even tell you what I would do. If Chad Prather were here, he would say, I would beat that ass.
How proud would you be, though, when she became Person of the Year, and then your child became Person of the Year for Time Magazine? How proud would you be?
Is she not, though? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Just quickly. Is she not the sort of genesis and the final, like, all the end product of this procedure, what we've been doing over the past, I'd say, 20 years, which is praising activism as an ends. It's not supposed to be the end. It's a means to an end. The end is what's important. And we just now say, well, like, you guys going out there and you're washing cars for the climate or whatever it is without questioning what they're actually supporting. And now you get down this road and she's so far down this road, you almost don't question. Of course she's going to scream at adults. She's basically been told those adults are Hitlers.
Right.
And they're all killing everybody. So of course she's going to scream at them. It makes sense in a worldview that she has now to scream at everybody and say everybody's trying to kill me. It's just not a sane way to go through life. And unfortunately, she's so far down this road. How do you escape it? When you're 16 and you're that indoctrinated on something, I don't know how you escape it.
So it was not just the Person of the Year that Time Magazine named. They also named the new Guardians of the Year. Remember, last year it was the journalists, I think 4 journalists and 1 news organization who took great risks. And this year, the Guardians of the Year are, of course, the whistleblower and the impeachment witnesses. Because, of course it would be. Look at those heroes, those national heroes over there getting sworn in to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help them God. Jeffy, your thoughts?
Did they actually swear in, so help them God?
I
don't think they did.
I don't think they did.
And look, this is Time Magazine being Time Magazine, right? If they had any guts, it would have been the Hong Kong protesters for the Person of the Year.
That's a great point.
They would have done that. So it's just, I mean, they made Lizzo the Entertainer of the Year, right? And
she was just at a basketball game with her rear hanging out, twerking on camera.
Her BMI numbers were quite high. During the dance, they gave.
But can I just say, even if they weren't, no one wants you to put your rear out at a basketball game where you have kids.
Like, but could you be? I guess they're trying to be controversial or something. But could you be any more boring? Like, I mean, this is like all just super woke choices, right? Like Greta Thunberg, like. Obviously, the Hong Kong protest, which is changing the dynamic between the East and the West in a massive moment for democracy versus communism and authoritarian. It's a massive thing, right? Like, it's a major world event. Another person talking about the climate is not a massive event. This is not done. It has not done anything. There's been no difference on that. The same thing here with like.
But she criticized. She criticized.
Thank you. Yes, she did.
Twice. Yeah. She went to
done that either.
She criticized.
No one has ever done that. I mean, Al Gore was doing that, 10 years ago. What's that done, right?
Put some cash in his pocket.
Well, yeah, he's made him very wealthy. The people who testified, like, that one's a really interesting one because, like, let's say if you really hate Donald Trump and you really think he's really bad, you could maybe make the argument the whistleblower is a guardian. The people who only testified after the whistleblower came forward and they were required to come testify and they just, that's not, what's so guardian about that? They sat there knowing all the information and did nothing. I mean, it's a bizarre sort of choice. And then the Lizzo thing is like, again, like, it's just like, what if we take the most woke possible example of a human being and give them the award? It's so boring. At some point, this woke sort of cancel culture thing becomes so boring that people abandon it. I just hope it comes sooner rather than later.
Well, congratulations to Time Magazine for maybe selling like 5 copies. I don't know. Coming up next, we have got the Judiciary Committee hearings on the IG report. Of course, the media wants to tell you, oh, there's nothing to see here. That was just a nothing burger there in that IG report. No one did anything wrong. Yeah, that's not actually the case. And we will get into that when we return.
Legitimately the only day of the year I think of Time Magazine now.
I know.
Yeah.
The only story I've known they've written all year.
Who's going to make the cover?
Did they do other issues? I don't even know.
Hey, before we get into the hearings that were taking place today, I want to thank our sponsor, Black Rifle Coffee Company. Matt Best, the founder of Black Rifle, was in here, a week or 2 ago? You should go look up that episode. He was great. But Black Rifle is, of course, veteran-owned and operated premium small batch roast-to-order coffee company for people who love America, which is obviously us. Well, the 3 of us. I don't know about him.
Yeah, Jeffy doesn't know.
I'm not sure. The jury's still out.
He's a Hong Kong guy.
But seriously, they do the roast to order. So whatever you're ordering, they're roasting it after you're placing your order. So it is the freshest coffee available. They also have Black Rifle Coffee Club, where you go in and you make your selections for your different roasts that you prefer. They've got all of them in there. I love the one that's double caffeinated because it gives me what I need to keep up with these guys at the table. But you can pick what you want, and then they will ship it directly to your office or your home. So you're not like running to the store at 11 p.m. because you've run out of coffee and you didn't realize it. They will get you hooked up with the coffee so you can be jittery all day. You can go to blackriflecoffee.com/Y. That's blackriflecoffee.com/Y. If you enter discount code Y, you will get 20% off of your first order, and that includes Black Rifle Coffee Club, which is huge because you're already getting a discount when you do the coffee club. You're getting a discount on your coffee, then you're getting another discount on top of that. Don't miss out. I know. Are you going to go right now?
Giving.
You're going to go right now. Throughout the month of December, Black Rifle Coffee Company is releasing the best product bundles in America. In America. Go get all the gifts for all of your family and friends. blackriflecoffee.com/Y. Use promo code Y. So the Judiciary Committee hearings today, a couple fun little tidbits that I read before we get into some clips. So you know how we just had all of these impeachment hearings and we had to sit through all of these boring opening statements from all of the Democrats?
Were great.
I don't.
Were they?
Were
they great?
Oh my gosh, all of them were just great.
Yeah, well, so, the mainstream media, we couldn't really find the opening statement from Lindsey Graham on, CNN, those places.
Wow. MSNBC.
Yeah, MSNBC.
MSNBC talked over the Lindsey Graham part of it and then joined with Dianne Feinstein, which is like exactly what you
would expect. You would expect. But here is a little bit of Lindsey Graham's opening statement.
So in January 2017, the person who did all the assembling of the information for the now famous Steele dossier tells the FBI, I disavow everything in there. Now, what should happen? Time out? Let's reassess? Maybe we got this wrong? What would you hope to happen? That the FBI would slow down? Because this is the outcome determinative document that's just had a hole blown through it. They don't slow down. They use the document they now know to be a bunch of garbage twice more to get a warrant against Carter Page. I hope Carter Page gets a lawyer and sues the hell out of the Department of Justice and the FBI. So the first thing I want you to know is how the cake is baked here. And my goal is to make sure that people, when this is over, whether you like Trump, hate Trump, don't care about Trump, you look at this as more than a few irregularities. Because if this becomes a few irregularities in America, then God help us all.
Great points from Lindsey Graham. Want to get, gentlemen, your thoughts on just what we're dealing with when we talk about the IG report and the issues that were addressed in it. But first, let's watch Ted Cruz talking to Michael Horowitz, who, of course, was the Inspector General who wrote the report. Watch.
So the men and women at home need to know what's happening. A lawyer at the FBI creates fraudulent evidence, alters an email. That is in turn used as the basis for a sworn statement to the court that the court relies on. Am I stating that accurately?
That's correct.
I just
that's correct.
find it incredible that he came to the conclusion, Horowitz, that he did. But he's like, yeah, no, it was altered. And then used as the basis of all of this. But no, I mean, no bias. No big deal.
I think these things get taken, the media has done a good job, I think, trying to take this out of context. Horowitz is absolutely not saying there was no political bias. What he's saying is he found no documentary evidence of it. So is there a text from me to Jeffy saying, hey, let's take out Trump?
Because he's a Republican.
Right, because he's a Republican. That would be a political bias and he'd have documentary evidence. He doesn't have that. But what he does have is all of these errors like the changing of emails, which is not an error.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But the fact that they're even calling them errors.
Yeah. No, that's true.
That's not, why even call it an error? You just said he altered a document.
Well, that's not an error. I mean, but they referred him for criminal prosecution, so that one's not an error. The media has been calling them errors, though. The New York Times called that specific one an error in a story. Oopsie, I just deleted an email, and oh no, it just changed some wording, no big deal. I think that's the big takeaway here. And you see, where Lindsey Graham, who's been a real defender of the FISA courts over the years, he's been a guy who's defended that system, even he's turning on it. And, we said this, I think, maybe yesterday on the show, but it bears repeating in that, the political bias is actually the better outcome here. If the FBI hates Donald Trump, there's a bunch of people and they're all targeting Trump, sucks for Trump, really bad for Trump, and I would be pissed off if I were Trump. However, at least that is there's a limit to that. If they're doing that to Donald Trump, what are they doing to the average person who gets locked up in the system? You know what I mean? This whole thing has to be scrapped if this is the common practice. I almost hope it's just some guy who hated Donald Trump and broke all the rules to try to get him. Because at least that means our entire system isn't corrupt. Because if it's the other way, they're just either that incompetent or that corrupt against everybody. We have a real problem.
Yeah. Luke, your thoughts? Do you agree?
Mike Lee said something very similar. He said, basically, I don't know which one of these outcomes I want to be correct. I'm really conflicted. I think Josh Hawley, made one of the best points. He said, it doesn't surprise me that the government of Russia is trying to manipulate the results of our election. That's happened for a long time. What I'm more concerned about is the fact that our government tried to manipulate the results of our election. And that is something that should be much more sobering to the average American than should the fact that other outside forces are trying to manipulate us. And by the way, our government has tried to manipulate other elections in other countries probably at some point. And yet, you know what? Our own government is trying to manipulate you, the average citizen in this nation. It's a scary time, and I think that Holly made a really good point to say, why can't we just really focus in on the reality that we know to be true as a result of this report?
Jeff Fisher.
I think that's why, really this is going to be the trial, right? I think this is where I really have a feeling that the impeachment continues if it makes it to the Senate. Let's say it goes through the House, which should. It goes through the Senate. I know a lot of people want that trial, right? So it shows everything comes out in the wash. I don't think they're going to do it. I think they're just going to vote. They're going to say America wants this over. We need to be done with it. They don't want to open up the closet. They don't want to show you what's going on behind the curtain. Just vote, be done with it. And then now you're looking at, well, wait, what actually happened? Oh, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Move on.
That's terrifying.
That would be that's really depressing to think about. I hope that doesn't happen. All right, back in a minute.
Stuff's got to come out. I mean, because, look, if this was either in the best interest of the country or it wasn't.
Right, but
you have to be able to invest in it.
Coming up in overtime, I've got a couple new polls that have come out that I think maybe the Democrats probably don't want to talk about because it doesn't look great for them. Now, this is post-impeachment inquiry and impeachment hearings, so we will get into that. I will get the guys' thoughts on that. Also, former FBI attorney Lisa Page, whose anti-Trump text message conversations with her lover, Peter Strzok, garnered national attention. Yeah, she is suing the FBI and the DOJ for releasing her texts because she has had to pay a lot for therapy and permanent loss of earning capacity. I know, the therapy, that's really sad. We'll get into that. Also, Megan Rapinoe slammed Sports Illustrated for lack of diversity while accepting their award. because, you know, we've all got to be woke. We got a lot coming up. Go to blazetv.com.